Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the ANITA Bass Podcast. My name is ANITA Bass, your host, and I hope y'all are doing wonderful on this fun-ass day. This episode is proudly brought to you by none other than Awake Tours, the greatest music festival travel touring company ever to hit planet Earth. Yeah. So today, we get to have the honor of speaking to a ridiculously funny human, Mr. Rory Lowe, famous for many, many, many reasons among Australian Disney and all his other ridiculous skits online. He has toured the world with some of the biggest names in comedy. He has been doing this as a job for some time now, a dream that people couldn't even fathom. So we're going to get to chat to him today about how he made this absolute dream his reality and how he's actually now starting his own cartoon called The Cigs, which is about cigarettes which smoke humans. Alrighty, so I will say no more and I will get Rory on the phone. Let's do this. Alrighty, guys, so as promised, I have Rory on the phone. Rory, how are you?
I'm pretty good, Anita. How you doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. Just chilling during COVID.
I told you I was going to come in with energy, straight away. Like, what's up? We're doing a podcast. Don't turn it off. Let's go.
We got the people hooked in. We got them hooked in. Well, I've already told them a little bit about you, so they're very, very, very intrigued. Straight up, I just want to say, well, first and foremost, thank you for coming on, and thank you for being somebody who followed your dreams and is doing something which is literally somebody's childhood dream and absolutely ridiculous and going after it and making shit happen so then we can talk to you and find out your inspiring story.
Oh, well, that's very beautiful. I mean, it wasn't my childhood dream at all. I wanted to be a football player, and it just so happens that I'm doing this instead. So that will have to do, I guess.
That will have to do. Alrighty, so I'll just get straight into it. And I guess the question that everyone would want to know, and I do, is how on earth does one become a comedian? When did you think sorry, I just cut you off.
No.
No, when did you think maybe I'm funny enough to be a comedian, or is it you've always been the class clown, or when did you kind of know that you could get paid to tell your jokes?
It wasn't until doing this for about 2 or 3 years that I realized that I actually wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Which is a strange thing to say, I guess. But a bunch of people when I was in my high school, I guess, and when I came out of high school, a lot of people were you need to do this. This is something that you should do. And all my friends kind of pushed me towards doing it a lot.
Yeah.
And then it kind of went well, and so I did it again. And then the next one went well, and I was like, okay, cool. And then someone was like, hey, we'll pay you $50 for it. And I was like, all right, sick. And then someone was like, oh, we'll pay you $100 for it. And I was like, okay, this is cool. And then I guess 2 years ago, I just quit my job, and so now I've just been doing this full time.
That is absolutely dope. And so in the beginning,
it's very strange because people are always like, how'd you do that? How'd you get there? And I'm like, I have fucking no idea. It's like when someone's like, how'd you get to the bottom of the hill? And you're like, well, I started falling at the top of the hill, and now I'm just kind of at the bottom. I have no idea.
Just
Gravity.
Gain traction. Well, you are ridiculously funny, and your jokes do land with everyone. I've seen Rory live, and we actually know each other. He performed at Nocturnal Neverland, rebranded as Wide Awake. We had him as a comedian on the bus down there. My bad. I shouldn't have done that because the microphone wasn't working too well and people couldn't really hear him, but he did a stunning job. So, number one, sorry. Number two, thank you.
Well, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad because I remember because we had 2 buses and there was no microphone and no air conditioning on one of them.
Yeah.
And then the other one, there was a microphone and there was air conditioning. But all of the hot girls were on the bus with the good microphone and the air conditioning, and so I didn't give a fuck about the other bus. The other bus was like, oh yeah, you kind of suck, and I was like, whatever. And then I got on the other bus and I was like, yeah, I definitely need to kill this. There's 30 banging girls on this, so I've got to make this one funny, because if you make all the hot girls laugh, they just tell all the other dudes that you're funny, and then the dudes are like, oh yeah, he's pretty funny. I agree with her.
Exactly. It's funny because my brother actually thought that you were a DJ. So after it all ended and we packed up, that morning when you were sitting out with my cousin Luke and everyone, which people say was to this date one of the funniest mornings ever, he was just like, oh my God, and kept talking. And I was like, yeah, Rory. And he's like, why do you keep saying comedian? And I was like, because he was the comedian on the bus. He's like, I thought he was a DJ, man. I thought he was the funniest fucking DJ I'd ever met in my life. I was like, no, he was like there to be the comedian. Like, that makes so much more sense now.
That's what most people think I am. It's really strange. Like when tell people like, oh, I do a gig or I've got like a show or anything like that. Like most people are like, oh yeah, so you like a DJ? And I'm like, oh wow, do I just look like a wanker? Is that like kind of what it is? I just look like I'm constantly like, oh, put your hands in the air. You know?
You're a DJ of life, making people laugh. So in the beginning, so we want to say gaining traction, gaining popularity, Aussie Peppa Pig, Aussie Disney, and what was your main platform for this in the beginning? Was it YouTube, Facebook, or?
It was Facebook. Everything kind of popped on Facebook. But it was just like, I don't really know. Like I did one video and it was like a Lion King Aussie Disney thing. But I just basically said, fucking cunt a bunch of times over the top of some lions. But it just like I sent it into Unilad or Lad Bible or something like that, and overnight it hit like 3 million views or something. And so like it kind of just took from there, and I was like, oh well, I guess I have to do this now. You know, it's not like I have no respect for it at all. Like it's the worst thing. It's like I find it so silly and like it's really dumb, and it's like it's very basic and it's not intelligent. But it's just pretty much a fart, It's one of those things where you're like, you know what, that's funny. I'm not sure why it's funny, but it works.
It just brings value.
Just kept making them. Yeah.
So do you think that is like the peak? My next question to you was like being a comedian is a lifetime dream away for people. Is there a certain time when you're like, fuck, this is I'm it right now, or was it a gradual snowball? But going by that story, maybe it was one video in particular.
Oh, it's really strange because it's like a mindset thing, Like you'd wake up in the morning and you'd be like, oh, I'm the fucking funniest person in the world, and then by like 10:30, you're like, I fucking hate myself, and then like by 12 o'clock, you're like, I can do this, I believe in myself, and then by like 3, you're like, that's it, it's over, over, I'm going back to work. Yeah. So it's because I guess with comedy, there's no like you'll always bomb, like you'll always fail. Like it's like it doesn't matter how good you get. Like the idea that you have to continue to write jokes and they have to be new and they have to be relevant, and the only way that you can find them out is if you do them in front of people. Yep. You're gonna bomb. Like
it's a hit to the ego. It is. It's character building for life, and I get at least that's a good thing. No one can really tear you down too much besides yourself in life after, which leads to my next question. Have you ever bombed on stage, or do you have an example of bad bomb?
Yeah, but all the time. Yeah, I bombed like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Like the comedy clubs are just opened back up again. And I haven't done a gig in like 3 months. Yep. So I got up there and I was like, I don't even fucking know how to talk to you people. I don't even know how to talk to my friends, let alone the audience.
I guess, have you gone to places where your jokes just aren't like, or countries where it's a cultural barrier or something where they just didn't get it, or you were saying words and they were like, or is it?
Well, I mean, I do a lot of, I try to at least be aware of where I am while I'm doing certain jokes. So like, I did some gigs in Malaysia, and so like you'd learn a little bit of Malay. Like you'd ask the bartender or the promoter or whatever, like, hey, this is my joke. Like, how do I say like this particular phrase like in Malay? And they're like, oh, it's a datang bulang. So you're like, all right, cool. Well, I'll say datang bulang when I go on stage. And then you say that, and then the crowd's like, holy shit, he speaks our language.
You're like, no, just that one part. Ask no more.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, hey, do you guys have Baskin and Robbins, or like do you have Ben and Jerry's, or do you have McDonald's here, or do people eat KFC? Like what's like there's certain kind of like colloquialisms and like daily life things that you've got to check to make sure you have the right reference.
Yeah, the right context. No, that's very important. Do your groundwork.
Do your homework.
So next up, I just wanted to speak about failure a little bit. So people don't go after their dreams because they are scared of failure and scared of people's opinions. And to them, I always say fail forward, and like you're never going to get anything probably on the first go, and you're just kind of figuring out what works. So failure really isn't something to dishearten you too much. And so I want to know your opinion on failure, especially as this is a good thing in theory and notion, but your failure, I guess, is a direct hit to your ego, to your face. Like, I don't think there's probably a more raw version of failing and knowing about it instantly than comedy.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you fail, someone will yell out at you,
Your shit.
You know, you're like, okay, all right, next joke.
You don't get that in the workplace, or like when you're just coming up in a business, like, you fucking suck, you're ugly. You're like, okay.
You don't get booed out of the office every now and then. You know, someone's like, boo, those aren't right angles, get out of here.
Oh, that's amazing. So failure is necessary in your business as well, and you grow through that.
I think that failure is like the most important thing out of every business, or like doing anything really, you know, like, because you don't learn anything at all if you do it right. Like, if you do something right and you succeed first time, like, that was boring, you know, and like you don't learn anything. And like, it's more so failure. I feel people, they're not worried about fear. They're like scared. They're scared about it. And like, they're scared of failure. And it's, you got to change what you're afraid of to be successful, in my opinion. Like, for me, my fear is not failing, but my fear is like not succeeding, if that makes any sense. Absolutely. So like, I'm not scared that I'm going to bomb. I'm scared that like I will never bomb again, so I won't learn, so I won't get better. You know, like, insignificance is a big thing that I'm afraid of. Like, I'm scared that I will be insignificant. Yes. And so one of my major things is like, all right, cool. You're scared of being nothing, so become something. And it's so much easier for me to fail to become something than it is to be scared of doing something and not becoming it, you know? Like, so if that made any sense.
No, that was beautiful. That was very poetic. No, it's just switching your mindset about it. Like, no, this failure is leading me to becoming what I need, as opposed to I'm not going to do anything because I'm scared people will shit on me.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I think that the worst thing that you could possibly do is be like scared of succeeding. Like, you know, like, because it's like, man, like, that's the only thing that you've kind of got.
Yeah, what other option do you have? Just not to do. You already know what that is.
Totally. Like, you can't be afraid of you know, your own power. You got to be afraid that you'll never match it.
Yeah, no, completely. And I think that's one of my fears too. Like, on the download, like, being insignificant, but not really in that way, but being insignificant to myself, and like knowing that I died without doing shit. Like, I already have regrets about, I don't really regret anything, but like regret stuff that I didn't do. I'm like, oh, I should have done this. And I have like executed on 99% of my brain's ideas. So I would hate to be like not executing, but I can completely agree on that. One of the things that I'm most scared of is just like dying with your music in you, basically.
I mean, 100%. Like, if I think a lot of people, you know, especially, you know, parents, they look at their kids and they're like, hey, we want you to succeed, we want you to be like this, we want you to, you know, put all the effort in, we want you to work hard. And it's very interesting that like that same mentality is never applied to them, you know. And it's kind of, you kind of got to look at yourself as your own kid, and you got to like make yourself work and make yourself do these things that you might not necessarily want to do, but you know that they'll benefit you.
100%. That is beautiful. So I was wondering, what was your biggest struggle coming up and trying to make it, if there was one? And that can include money, touring, or pressures.
Oh, like, I mean, money is like still an issue.
It's always an issue for everyone. Yeah.
That's always like, it doesn't, I feel like it doesn't matter how big or successful you become, like in terms of like comedy or music or DJing, like you can do the 99% of it's you being broke. I feel like it's only when you get like that one, you finally cross that mark, like you go from like not being able to afford a fucking bus ticket to buying a house. You know, it's like someone gives you all of your, it's like someone gives you all of your rewards of 10 years in like a week. You know, that's where everyone's like, oh, overnight success. Like, no, it's not really what it is, you know. And so, I guess the finances is always a big one. At the moment, it's great, though, because, you know, we got the government check. So it's beautiful at the moment to like, this is my first time on it. So I can just sit back and like create my own things and not have to worry about if I can afford a coffee or not.
Yeah, no, the pressure of money. That's one thing that's a positive, I guess, of this COVID, or even I felt in the beginning, because normally it's just such a pressure to do and create and money. And then it was like, I found myself in this space of just doing what I want for wanting sake for the first time in quite a long time, because
Oh, yeah.
before that it was to get shit because I'd promised it, and it was like the world had paused and I was like, this is kind of cool, and I'm not really worrying, even though I've lost everything in retrospect, not really. And it was like this cool little silent bubble for a little bit. I'm like, no pressure. It's good.
Yeah, I'm very jealous of the people who got fit during quarantine. Like I like really wanted to, I was like one of those things. I was like, I really want to be fit, and then like I just didn't do it.
It's all right. You've been working on other things, but
Yeah.
was there a moment when you were like, wow, or you were really impressed with yourself, or is there a person that you've toured with where you thought, is this real life, or you've opened for and it's just an idol or something like this?
Well, I did a tour in November last year with a guy called Bert Kreischer, who I'm like a really big fan of. And
Joe
I was
Rogan podcast.
yeah, he's on there a lot. Yeah. So he like I did a tour with him in Australia, which was really cool. And then like I was in the States while he was doing a tour, and he was like, come jump on the bus. Come jump on the bus and we'll do some shows together. I was like, this is fucking crazy. Like we did the Mirage in Vegas, which is like, Celine Dion had done it like a couple of weeks before, and it's like 3,000-4,000 people, and we jumping on fucking private jets and flying around the place. And like again, like I don't have any money. I had like $40.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, and this dude's like, come jump on the private jet. We'll fly you around Salt Lake City and LA and Fresno, and we'll do some shows. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like if you asked me to buy you a beer, like I cannot afford it. So,
I can't return the favor. I'm not a rich friend.
Yeah, no, not at all, bro. Not at all. I'm like opening doors and shit for him. Like, oh, good on you, sir. Get on through. Just try to do whatever I can.
Yeah, and to anyone who hasn't seen Rory live, I recommend you do when you get the opportunity to. He really is that good, which is why I guess Bert would have asked you to. I remember when I was in Melbourne and the comedy show was on, I went to meet Rory, and basically the places, well, they opened up spots for you just when you came through. You weren't on the roster for one of them, and they're like, yeah, come on, please. And so, yeah, Rory really is that good, and he does have a good reputation. So I definitely recommend y'all get amongst that when you can.
Very kind words.
Do you have a worst heckle? Can you remember anything that somebody's yelled out at you that either threw you off or was just like morbidly offensive?
Not particularly too much. Like, because when people yell stuff out at you, like you suck, or like, fuck you, get off stage.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot easier to deal with than like just like two drunk ladies talking in the corner by themselves.
Yeah.
Because like everyone can hear what that person said, that like, and you're like, all right, cool. Everyone knows that this guy's a dick. He's like getting in people's faces for no reason. And you're like, all right, well, I can attack him now. But sometimes when there's just like a couple of people like chatting, they're not trying to be disruptive, but they are being a little bit disruptive.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to like address the fact that they're talking and ask them to kind of shut up without being too mean. Yeah. And it's like, like it's really strange because you've almost got to be like, hey guys, shh. But you've got to do that like in a funny way so everyone else in the room doesn't feel like you're losing momentum or being mean.
I get that. Yeah. And what about the coolest thing you have found about being a comedian and the reason Rory continues to do it?
It's just people laughing. Like there's just like imagine your job is just to go into a room and the room is just full of laughter.
Yeah.
Like it's like I can't do anything else.
Yeah.
Like I can't do anything else anymore. Like I've experienced something that's so incredible that I can almost control as well and manipulate to make it louder or smaller or from the left or from the right, and it's just this incredible feeling where you're like, wow, like I'm making all of these people really happy.
Yeah. No, that is
beautiful. And it's like you can't there's nothing else. Like there's nothing else. Yeah. Unfortunately.
I don't think you could put a price on that, or seeing people's joy from something that is an idea in your head and watching them. And I guess, yeah, because the industry is so happy, it's like you're their relief or their release. Like they get dressed up and they have a night where they've planned, I'm coming to see this person, and they've trusted you to give them that experience. And it's like, yeah, like this is me.
Yeah, 100%. It's and like some people come up to you after shows who might like be struggling with certain things or having like a bit of a hard time, and they tell you, they're like, yo, like, I wanted to kill myself last week.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit. Like, I had no idea that like there was that much impact.
Yeah.
You know, like it's lovely that people come over and be like, oh, you're funny, like, you know, like, hey, a bit of banter, you know, whatever. But when people come over and like drop some like heavy shit on you, and they're like, that's the first time I've laughed like in 6 months, and like I love you, and you're like, oh bro, I love you too. Like, you want to come back to my place? you want to come hang out? You want to go play Monopoly or some shit?
Yeah. No, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. So before I ask my next question, so you've studied, haven't you? Or did you say, what was your profession, or what were you planning or side before? Because it's not, comedy hasn't been your number one always, has it?
Well, I mean, it kind of has. My parents always pushed me to study, so
Yeah.
like I had to go to uni straight after like high school, so I didn't get like a cool gap year in Europe to become cultured like everyone else did. You know, it was kind of like, oh, go to school again.
Yeah.
So I studied architecture,
Crazy.
and so I've got a bachelor in environmental design, and I'm just finishing off my master's, which is just like work experience. So I'm
Crazy.
designing a yoga cabin in Portugal at the moment.
That is
Um,
beautiful.
yeah, it's called Val de Moses is the retreat that it's in, so which is really cool. And so yeah, just trying to do that, and then trying to tell jokes, and then you know trying to see my friends, and you know everything.
Remember to breathe and eat and sleep.
yeah, you know.
No, that is dope and completely random from comedy, but beautiful. So that leads me to ask, like, from a business point of view, and I guess you've kind of semi-asked this, I always tell people it's okay to have a job while you work on your side hustle. Like, it's good to have a passion, but a lot of people think that means quit tomorrow and then start the next day. And I'm like, no, I don't really mean that. Like, it's okay, like, swallow your ego. Just because you want to put like self-employed in your bio doesn't mean just cut off everything. You need a safety net. So do you either agree on that, or what's your opinion of working on your craft as well as having a job too?
I completely agree with it, but it's not really something that I've done.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like I've always kind of put comedy first over everything else. And, you know, going back to like the finances thing, like maybe it probably wasn't the best idea. You know, if I could have like worked my ass off for like 6 months, you know, in some fucking cafe or cleaning on the mines or like anything, you know, and like banked up fucking 20 G's and put that in my back pocket, and then went on with my career, that would have been so much easier than you know, struggling trying to work like 4 days a week while also trying to do the gig, while also trying to study, while also trying to, you know, make my friends happy and my girlfriend happy and stuff like that. So it's like, it's one of those things where you're just a bit, you know, you're juggling so many balls at the same time. But I definitely think it's important to do something as well as the thing that you're chasing. Like a lot of my architecture study and a lot of the work ethic and things like that I gained from it has really pushed my comedy. You know, like graphic designing, so I can design my own posters, like I can edit my own videos, you know, I can make captions and stuff like that, like little things that architecture and studying architecture and about, you know, design and spatial awareness and, you know, angles and how a room works has all added to comedy for me. So it's one of those things that I think that whatever you are doing on the side, it will influence your main thing. Even not now, maybe a bit later on, but definitely.
Beautiful, even if it's not directly related, like architecture
Oh,
and comedy.
100%.
No.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you're a fireman or you're a policeman or whatever, and you want to be like a school teacher. Like, well, all right, cool. Well, now you know how to deal with certain things. You know how to deal with high stress situations. You know how to talk to people. You know how to interact with people. Just because like one job and another job don't look like they fit together, it doesn't mean there is attributes that you can't take from it and really use to further your dreams.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's definitely skills that you can cross over, which leads into my next question, which is from a business point of view, like some people don't see what they do as needing a business mindset also. So comedy could easily be one of those things like, I'm funny, that's it, goodbye. But I feel like you really do get an edge if you treat yourself like a business and a media company, and you showcase, because you need to, because you are a business. So your social media is amazing, and you can see that you're always just putting in work as opposed to just knowing you're funny enough and hoping somebody stumbles across one of your jokes. So what are your thoughts on needing a business mindset as well as being good at your craft?
like I am not really like business savvy, shall we say? Like
Putting
I
out
don't know
content,
how.
you're fucking good.
Yeah. So like I think marketing is very important. Like I know, like I feel like I kind of know how to market,
You do.
but like when when it comes to like business, like I have no idea how tax works. I have fucking no idea how tax works. I'm waiting for the government to ring me up and be like, "You're going to jail." Like I have no idea how tax works. But things like, I mean, it's the age-old saying, you can be the best in the world at something, but if you're doing it in your living room, no one's ever going to see it.
Yeah.
So like one of the biggest things that I struggle with is putting stuff out and like not hating it. Like I get really embarrassed, and I feel like it's not good enough, and that there's like people like laughing and snickering at what I create. Like in Melbourne, they're like, "Oh, fuck, this guy thinks he's funny," and like that really affects me.
Yeah.
And so I have to be very like aware that I need to overcome that, and that I need to put my stuff out, and that I need to put the failures out. I need to put the good stuff out. I need to put everything out, and because only one thing needs to hit, really, because that's all that happened with my stuff at the start. I put out like maybe 50 videos or something, and they're all bullshit. And then like I put out one, got picked up by the uni lad guys or lad Bible, whatever it was. That went off, and I was like, all right, cool. Well, I'll follow that one thing, and then that's led to pretty much everything else. And so yeah, I think it's just important to just you have to put yourself out there and be vulnerable. It's very, very, very important to be vulnerable. Yeah. Especially when you're creating art.
No, you definitely do. And you like said a few things there, but that's everyone's fear as well. Like everyone has imposter syndrome, and everyone thinks, oh my God, who's looking or who, and because you like to us, you're Rory, you're ridiculously funny, you've been on private jets with world-class comedians. So like to hear you say that is even like a spin out to some people, but you are Rory, and you know that you shit, and you know that you have sad days, and you know who you are. So everyone like kind of feels that. But also, as you said, putting out content is so incredibly important, because you don't know, number one, if anyone's even going to see it. Because as I said on my business podcast, like the internet is inundated with shit. So you can work on something and think it's the greatest production, and there could be 5% of your audience who see it because people are just flicking through their phones aimlessly. So it's like, fuck. So like putting out lots of content is important, as well as like you don't know what's going to land for who and what they resonate with. Like some things that I put out, I'm like, this takes me like a second. This is just something, I don't have anything to post today, has been like a viral thing that I've seen go up like hundreds of thousands. I'm like, I would never have picked that to be the thing. Yeah. So you're
like, you guys like this? This is fucking stupid. Why do you guys like this?
Exactly. You don't know who's going to take what. But no, everyone feels that way, but no, you're doing a wonderful job.
Thank you, Anita.
Only a few more questions left. What is the hardest thing about being a touring comedian for you?
It's like my favorite part of the whole job. It's like the touring, because you've got everything, like you've got all your jokes, everything's organized, like you get to be in this new city. Like to me, there's nothing difficult about touring, like at all. Like every country or every city's got like a new group of comics. They're all very welcoming when you're coming over, especially from overseas. They show you around their city. You get to get all the culture in.
Fun time.
I guess it's like the homework thing that I was talking about before. It's like references, so like I've got to make sure that I'm not, getting up there and being like, all right, let's talk about this. And they're like, we don't have that. And you're like, okay. So, but then again, that's not really hard. You can do that on the way to the gig. You ask the Uber driver or whatever. You're like, hey guys, you guys got Nando's out here? Like, no. Yeah. Okay, cool. What you got? What, do you have spicy chicken? Where's your spicy chicken? Like, what's your spicy chicken stuff? You're like, oh, it's Nene's. You're like, all right, cool. Well, I'll just change Nando's to Nene's. Sick.
That's so smart. Very true. I guess, touring would be your reward of your I was going to say bedroom work. Of your bedroom work.
Bedroom work, yeah. Your fuck's good. Send him out.
Yeah. Where's my mind going with this? No. Of your writing your jokes and doing all the hustling and doing all your shit. And then you get to go out and showcase the world to the pretty show where everyone dresses up and treats you like the celebrity.
Yeah, 100%. I love that. And like just shows afterwards, like hanging out with like the crowd and hanging out with bar staff. Like, it's so much fun.
It's beautiful. So advice that you would give to anyone who's starting off, who wants to pursue something which isn't mainstream, such as comedy, and is too scared to, or has people telling them that it's dumb and it will never work?
People will always tell you that it's dumb and it won't work, and you'll tell yourself it's dumb and that it won't work. But just do it.
Just do it.
Like that's the thing. Like, just do it. So many people are like, oh yeah, you know, like I need to get a better computer, or like I need to get like a better camera, or you know, I want to have a nice skateboard. Like, fuck that. You don't need anything of any merit at all to do stuff. Like, all my videos are edited on this fucking program called VideoPad that I downloaded in like 2009, which I don't know how it still functions on my computer. Like the cartoons that I made, I did on this open source software called OpenTunes that no one's ever heard of, and like I film everything on my phone. Yeah, like you can do it. A lot of people will tend to make excuses for themselves, and you just can't do that, because there's always going to be an excuse. You know, oh, I need to go to the gym. Oh, I'm hungry. Oh, I'm tired. Like, so many people go to university and study something that they don't want to study, and they'll put in so much effort. They'll stay up all night for weeks, you know, then they'll stress out about it. Like, imagine if you put as much effort as what you put into studying something you don't even fucking want because your parents told you to do it, into something that you actually desire and something you want to achieve. You'll have it done in no time.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. And it's just so true. Like, everything that you just said. And yeah, studying for something, it's what I often say as well. Studying, you try so hard for something that you fucking hate, and you end up entry level. Like, why do you think your dreams deserve any less effort than that? Like, that makes no sense. But
100%.
But yeah,
and also if you want to be the best, you know, like if you want to be the fucking best, you have to be the best.
Yes.
Like, you can't just like sit around and be like, oh yeah, you know, eventually it'll happen, because it fucking won't. Yeah. Like, no one's gonna knock on your door. You know, Simon Cowell's not gonna knock on your door and be like, I heard you singing in the shower. Fucking, you're in. You know.
Yeah. You have to be your own hype man.
Yeah, you have to be your own hero.
You do, and you also said about like your software and all of that, and I completely agree. Like, everything I've ever done has been on free apps because I refuse to pay, and like all my editing, even all this podcast, I wait to as shit. I've taught myself to do everything because I refused. Like, something that I needed to do every day, I'm like, I don't want to be on call to anyone and have to pay them. I want to make changes. So yeah, everything's always been free or whatever, and you just make it work. And yeah, but people make excuses and just, I need this or this, or I can't until I get these decks. It's like, no, it's not going to make a difference. And I was listening to a fitness podcast dude the other day, or it was like a video, and he was like answering all these questions people were asking him, and one of it, they were like asking about the olive oil spray and the calories, and it was like, he was like, dude, you don't train and you don't eat the proper meals. Like, don't be asking me about like the olive oil spray and the calories if you're fucking eating like KFC every day. Still, we got other problems. So like, yeah, it's like that. People just want the little things, and they get too caught up, or I need this, or to wear this, or like, no, just do.
Oh yeah, I've got to make sure I have like the right gear, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I've got to have the gloves. Got to have the gloves, bro. Can't do it without the gloves. Like, fuck off, cunt. You got hands. Like, you don't need all of these like these expensive fucking capitalist things that people try to sell you, so to make you seem like you're going to be better at something. Yep. Like, everything is free. Everything is on YouTube with a tutorial. If you want to learn how to build a fucking car engine, go on YouTube and watch someone build a car engine. If you want to learn how to fly a plane, fucking go on YouTube and watch someone fly a plane. Like, it's all for free. It's all on YouTube. Shut the fuck up and just do some work. Like, that's what it is.
It is. And that's what people don't like hearing, but work and time.
You know, like, everyone wants to get famous, nobody wants to work hard. Yeah. And it's a very, very, very simple thing. Work super hard. You might not get famous, but you'll be able to do the thing that you want to do in the lifestyle that you want to do it. You know, like, I know so many comics who've never been on TV, but they make six figures. Their kids are in private school. They've been doing this for 20 years. Like, no one's ever heard of them, but they do corporate gigs, and they do comedy, and they do clubs, and they do tours, and they have enough of a network and enough of a talent that it's still sought after, even if it's not like, you know, Chris D'Elia or Kevin Hart or Dave Chappelle. Like, you don't have to be the best to do the thing that you want to do.
Definitely. That's a beautiful point. It is. People think if I'm not number one now, I'm not doing it at all. But there is joy and peace that comes from doing what you love more so than being in the starlights of being told you're number one. Definitely.
Yeah. And so many people, like, if you look at like music, especially, you know, people are like, oh, have you heard of this guy? Have you heard of this guy? Like, people want to support the underdog. They want you to succeed. So it's like, once you get to a certain point, your fans or like your following or even your friends, like, it doesn't matter. Like, they want you to succeed.
Yeah.
And so just go out there and succeed for everybody, because that's what they want.
Do it for the people. Show them it can be done.
Just for people. Yeah. That's what I want to do. I want to become like a very renowned, like, up there comedian, and I want to be in Perth when I do it. Yeah. And I want to show people that, like, yo, you don't have to go to Melbourne. Yeah. Like, fuck Melbourne. Like, you don't have to go to Melbourne and be a cool band in Melbourne. Like, you have the internet, you have everything here. Like, just create.
Yeah. You know? There's no excuse. No, that is beautiful. And speaking of creating, now going into, so Rory, guys, is currently making his own cartoon called The Cigs, which, if I'm not wrong, from what I understand, it's about cigarettes who smoke humans.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this. And I don't understand where you found the time, but what is this? Where's the brainchild? Where have you always thought of it, and what's going on?
So basically, I am pitching a cartoon to like bigger networks, and that's like a totally different cartoon. It's about sperms, and it's like set in somebody's balls. Yeah, I said sperms. Yeah, it's about two sperms that like live in this civilization that's, you know, it's always balls. But in order to show the people that I was pitching it to that I have an audience that wants to see cartoons, I made the Cigs so I could attach it to the proposal that I'm trying to get sorted for the bigger cartoon. So it's kind of like it's like a very small piece of a much larger puzzle, but it's done really well. Like, it hit 750,000 views this morning. So,
oh my god,
it seems like yeah, exactly. It's like one of those things that I just made this so I could make something else, and now it seems like this might be the main thing to just go off for a while. Yeah, so
that is amazing. That is so cool. I wouldn't even know where to start, how to make a cartoon, let alone like, dude, well done.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I had no idea how to do it. So I went on YouTube and I typed in how to animate, and then they were like, "There you go, just fucking get started." So
see, guys, no excuses. Rory's out here making motherfucking cartoons about sperms which live in balls. It's like, y'all complaining you don't know how to do a push-up. There's plenty of tutorials.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh god, no, absolutely fucking dope. So in closing, final question: advice that you would give to your younger self.
Advice that I'd give my younger self. Don't worry. Just keep going. Just keep your head down and just keep going. Because I think there's been so many times in my life where I get really fretted and like really freaked out. I'm like, you know, I'll have a breakdown every couple of months, and I'll just be like, "You're not good enough. You're never gonna get this. Like, no one likes you. Your friends don't like you." It's like my spiral goes down quick and hard. You know, it's like, your mom hates you. I'm like, no, she doesn't. You know, and so I guess what I would say to myself is just don't worry, don't fret. Everything's gonna be fine. And even if you don't achieve the things that you don't want to achieve, like, everyone's still gonna be there. People still love you.
No, absolutely beautiful. And yes, correct. Don't worry. Well, you were doing amazing anyway. But yeah, and even if you don't succeed, people listening, you still learn so much that you would not have learned had you just sat there and done nothing, and you will never, ever regret or think, what if, which is worse. Even if you go out there and you bomb and you suck and people tell you suck, it's a lot better than sitting there and being like, oh, I could have, but I didn't, but I could have. Fuck. And then being old and being like, shit, I should have, because life's a game and then you die. Why didn't I? So no.
Yeah, no, that's a very good quote that I try to live my life by, you know, like, you know, you die at the end.
Yeah.
Like, just let you know, you die at the end, so have a fucking giggle, because that's the only thing that's ever going to matter. It's just fleeting moments of enjoyment. So fucking have a little giggle and whistle while you hit the grave, you know.
No, absolutely beautiful. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for coming in and speaking to us this morning, Rory. Very easy to listen to, so I can't wait to get this out to the people. Funny, motivating, inspiring, and a bit of a background into the hustle and the work and the mindset that goes into becoming a world-class, absolute celebrity, stardom, fucking comedian, which you are. Even if you can't see it, you are dope. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me, Anita.
Alrighty, have a good day.
You too. Peace.